Blog Talk Radio.
Welcome to Fearless Generations with Terry Sayer and Kelly Fox.
Hello and welcome to Fearless Generations, 12 Steps to Freedom. I am Kelly Fox, and we are on step 3 of connection. And tonight we're going to be talking about love and possibilities, great things that come with connection, love of self, all the possibilities that brings, which then also brings love of others, receiving love from others, and so many more possibilities. So let's get this conversation going. Please welcome my beautiful co-host, Terry Sayer. How are you doing tonight, Terry?
I am doing great. Just enjoying all of the festivities, all the planning that goes around this time of the year. It's really fun.
Well, good. Glad to hear it. There is definitely a lot going on in December. I have 3 kid birthdays in December. So it's busy.
I have 3 grandchildren and 1 great-grandchild with birthdays in December.
So you actually have 4 grandchildren, but that's okay. So
that's true.
I want to get started on this conversation of love and possibilities. So why don't you start us off, Terry, when it comes to connection and then bringing in love and possibilities, what are the first things that come to your mind, or what would you like to share with the topic tonight?
Well, I think connection is such an interesting step after we've gone through awareness and willingness, and now we're connecting, and everything in Fearless Living is connecting to yourself first. So that's a really deep concept, connecting to yourself, because there's so many different facets of our lives that we can connect to. So we can connect to our careers, we can connect to our relationships, we can connect spiritually, we can connect in so many ways, but really connecting with ourselves has so many layers because we're complex human beings, right? So connecting with ourselves helps bring us self-acceptance, self-love. If we connect in that way, we can also connect with ourselves in self-destructive ways. So it's a matter of making that decision and filtering our connection to ourselves in a way that is positive, empowering, and helps us to move forward on this journey in the 12 steps to freedom. So connecting to ourselves in order to have self-acceptance brings us to those 3 foundational principles of fearless living, which are compassion, having compassion for ourselves, being kind to ourselves, giving ourselves a break, honesty, telling ourselves the truth. If we have a challenge or we have an area of our life that we want to become more efficient and effective in that part of our lives, then be honest. That's someplace I need to work on. I can do this. I can ask for help. I can, there's ways that I can connect to that part of myself and bring myself to the level I want to be. We also then personal responsibility. So that's that accountability piece. So once we're kind to ourselves, we give ourselves a break, we don't beat ourselves up, we're honest with ourselves, what's our challenge, and then we are accountable for setting intentions, making plans, having goals to reach a level of proficiency or to improve our understanding, our skills, whatever it is in that particular area. So connecting to ourselves has so many moving parts. We're reading a book called The Atomic Habits, and it's so interesting about how you develop a habit, either a self-destructive or a proactive habit, right? And so I've been studying that and thinking about that, what kind of habits I want to eliminate, what kind of habits do I want to be willing to go through the steps of building a habit. And I think that's connecting with ourselves. And I believe that once we can connect with ourselves, we can be intentional about our movement forward. We can have goals that support our intentions, and we can develop habits that help us to be connected to ourselves. Once we do that, then possibilities open up. There's so much more available to us when we're aware and willing to connect on that level of compassion, honesty, and personal responsibility, being accountable for our forward movement. Nobody else is accountable for it. We are. And when we accept that connection to our journey, and then we are willing to take those steps to develop those habits, to when something doesn't go right, to be compassionate and to be honest with ourselves. It's a cyclical process that helps us to keep moving forward. And that's connecting with our soul, connecting with ourselves, accepting ourselves, loving ourselves. All of that is a part of connection. So connection, and that's just connection with ourselves, opens those possibilities. Then once we're connected with ourselves with clarity, we know our purpose, our passion, we know which way we're going, we have a plan to develop those habits that will result in that. Then we can connect with the world outside of us as we start to build those proficiencies and those skills, and we're feeling able to face conflict and chaos and still move forward because we're connected honestly and with compassion and with accountability to ourselves. Then we can move on to connecting with the world around us, which means relationships, careers, all those things outside of our own self-acceptance and self-love, our own accountability. Then we can move out into the world, and we can connect with others. We can connect with other purposes. We can connect with knowledge. We can connect with, there's just, the possibilities are endless. And I think that's why connecting with ourselves is so important, because that opens the door. That opens the door for us to move forward, to learn from our challenges, to accept the journey, to see others' innocence, to move forward in the possibility of growing and reaching those goals that we've set for ourselves, those intentions that are built on goals that we can take. We talk about getting out of our comfort zone step by step, little baby step by baby step. We're taking these stretches and risks, and we're moving forward and working towards these possibilities of developing our habits in order to live in our passions and our purposes. So connection is third step. That is something that continues, just like awareness and willingness do. It just opens up possibilities that we can, as I said, they're endless.
Yeah, connection, I think, is like awareness and willingness. It's really in the core of almost every step. It's almost like something that I don't want to say have to, but you have to do to change. You have to be able to connect with yourself. Not only know who you are, but know what you want. Know what you're willing to do. Know what you want to commit to. Know your goal. All of those things come from connection to yourself. And then when you can also connect to yourself and really know who you are and what you stand for, then clarity is going to come with all of these other things that are going on around you. And that will move you forward with whatever you do and whatever area of your life you're pursuing and wanting to change. Because most of the time, lots of areas of our life, we kind of have an understanding of what's going on there. We might have things we want to improve, but we don't necessarily need a coach to come in and support us. We don't necessarily need these tools to be taught to us. But there's areas in our life where we do. Because there's so many different areas of our lives and so many different complexities and things that have happened to us and layers of fear. And so some areas there's less layers and we're able to take care of it. Some areas of our life there's a lot of layers, and that's where we need support. And that's what Terry and I are here to do. We're here to help you with those areas of your life where you have lots of layups and you want someone to hold your hand and walk you through it.
Yeah.
That's what we do. And
yeah,
getting to know and connecting with yourself.
Well, no, you can go. I was just saying that that's part of asking for help when you need help, you know, because we don't have skills in every area of our life. And I think that's what you're saying, that, you know, once you know your purpose, clarity around what you want to do and who you want to be, then if those are areas that you don't have the skills or the knowledge or the strategies, and that's when you reach out and ask for help.
Yeah. That's when it's time to connect with someone else. And I think that when we can really, truly connect with ourselves, then we are in a better position to know who to reach out to and connect with. We'll be able to trust ourselves more, to know the people who are going to support us and the people who are not. And when we can connect to the essence of who we are, then we will see who is around us that resonates or aligns with that, who we are, and who doesn't, and who we might need to disconnect from as we move forward. And so that's why it's so important for us to be connected to ourselves and practice being in alignment with that connection. Our heart, our mind, our body, our soul, that they're all aligned with each other and all have a clear knowledge of where we want to go and how we want to get there and who we want to support us along the way and who do we want to support along the way. Because this connection is about giving and receiving, and we'll talk about that more next week, but love and possibilities are definitely going to come when you allow yourself to connect with yourself and really get to know yourself and really start to love yourself. And when you love yourself, the amount of possibilities that become available to you are, limitless almost. And you see all of these opportunities that you didn't necessarily see before, though they probably were there. Because when we're not loving ourselves, we're seeing everything through that filter of us being unlovable or us being broken or us being whatever you may be calling yourself. But once you can have compassion with yourself and you can start to love yourself, then you're able to actually see the love that others are trying to give you. And then that's an opportunity for you to say, okay, I am willing to believe and receive that love that you've been trying to give me all along. But when we don't love ourselves, we don't see that. And our fear just continues to tell us that nobody loves us and that we're unlovable and that, it's not available to us. That's not something that we get. But it's not true. So that's why it's so important that we connect with ourselves and start that process to self-love. So that we can have the possibilities and opportunities in our life that we're really wanting. Those passions, those dreams, those inklings, those nudges that our voice of freedom, our higher power have been giving to us, those things then seem possible when before they probably didn't. But when we can truly love ourselves and allow ourselves to move forward and receive and give love and connect with ourselves and connect with others, then we can then also connect with the possibilities and receive from those possibilities. And then a whole new filter is developed and cultivated by making new choices and creating new habits like Terry was talking about. Because we start cultivating a whole new kind of life, we start thinking about ourselves in a whole new different way than we did before. And so, you know, when we talk about this, it might sound like too good to be true or cliche or whatever, but really, when you can connect with yourself and love yourself, anything can happen.
Yeah, I think that most, probably one of the things that I learned when I realized that what was keeping me from being truly happy and living the life my soul intended was when I realized that I wasn't accepting myself. I wasn't loving myself. Everything I did was to have people, you know, try to get people to recognize me and see me and love me and think I was great, rather than me knowing that I was great and that I had value and that I was lovable and that I was doing what I could when I could the best I could, which is something I learned as well. And once that, it was almost like this burst of light that entered into my being, that was the one thing that was keeping me from happiness and peace and joy. And once I realized that and I began to practice accepting myself and loving myself and being willing to be vulnerable and human and recognizing that perfection was a myth and that as I tried my entire life to be perfect so that I would be accepted and loved, that I was just fighting a losing battle because there is no such thing as perfection in this life. And that what I did was of value and it was good enough and it was great and I could be the person that I wanted to be in an authentic way. I was a leader. I mean, I had leadership positions and I always wanted to be in those positions, but I wasn't being truly who I was. It was, I'm going to do this really, really well so that everybody will think they need me and I'm the one who can do this and I'm the only one who can do this. And that's not authentic. That's not authentic leadership. That's not leadership with a servant's heart. And once I had that realization, I began to change my whole filter of who I was, and I became a different person with different motives, with different ways of thinking, of acting, of speaking, and that all happened because I accepted myself as a daughter of God with divinity in my soul, who was loved immensely and was of great value. And that changed everything in my life. And now I did a lot of good things before that in terms of leadership and creativity, and I was a really good teacher. And yet now it comes from a whole different place. It's still some of the same skills. It's still the knowledge I've learned, the wisdom that I've acquired, the opportunities I've had to learn things in my education, but it's not the same. It's totally different because I am coming from a place of compassion, honesty, and accountability for myself. And that's all the difference in the world. So the possibilities, since I had that epiphany or revelation, whatever you want to call it, I mean, I've done things in my life that I probably would have never attempted because I would have been afraid. We talk about fear of failing, fear of not being good enough, of not accomplishing what I've envisioned that I would accomplish. It's totally different now because I go for it. The abilities are endless. If it doesn't work out, what did I learn? And I go back and I try a different approach, or I ask for help, or I say, look, what can we do as a in a collaboration, that we can come about with what we want, in this particular area, whether it's my responsibilities as a teacher, as a leader, as a, city council member, as a mother, as a sister, as a daughter, whatever it is, I'm going to approach it with compassion for myself. And when I do that, then I have compassion for others. Being honest with myself, then I can be honest with others. Being accountable to myself, then I can be accountable to others. So it's just, it's all, to me, it's having that simple mantra of do what I can, when I can, the best I can, and having compassion, honesty, and accountability. And those two mantras support me all the time. And I'm willing to do that. I'm willing to do that because I'm aware of that's the way I'm going to move forward. And it keeps me excited about life. It keeps me moving forward. It keeps me taking on new challenges because I want to learn what I was sent to this earth to learn, and I don't want to stop learning. And if you're not taking risks, you're not learning and you're not growing. So that's just, when we're talking about connecting with ourselves, that opens all of those possibilities.
Yeah, definitely. And when you were talking, it was really making me think about how we say everything that we do can be done in fear or freedom.
Mm-hmm.
So something that you can think of as a proactive behavior done with a different motivation can be a self-destructive behavior.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So really checking yourself, really connecting with yourself and saying, okay, what is motivating this? What is underneath this? Or is it freedom? And really ask yourself that. Really dig deep and ask yourself, what is the motivation? Because people can be motivated by fear to eat healthy and exercise, which are good things. Though it is really great to be motivated by freedom to eat healthy and exercise, because it's going to last longer and it's going to be an actual lifestyle and you're going to enjoy it. Because when it's motivated by fear, then you're just resenting it and you're just waiting until you can stop. Right? That's why diets don't work.
Yeah.
Right? We have to actually change our life, and we're not going to change unless we're in freedom. So really think about and connect down into the motivation that is behind your choices. Because a lot of the time we think, oh, I'm making this decision because I'm being logical or I'm following my heart or my gut, and it all could be fear. And we don't realize that we're being run by our fear. We think, oh, I made this decision on my own. But no, fear is in there tricking you to believe what it wants you to, and live your life the way it wants you to. So connect with yourself, really get to the core of that behavior, really get to the core of that a need that you have that's motivating you, or that perception or filter that you're seeing the world through. Really connect and get underneath all of that and ask yourself, is this fear or freedom? Ask yourself, is this true or am I making it up? Really get clear and connected to the real you, the essence that you are, underneath all the lies, underneath all of the stories that fear's been telling you for your whole life. Underneath all of that, what is there? And connect to that. So I thank you, Terry, for being here with me tonight and having this discussion about connection and love and possibilities.
My pleasure.
Any last wisdom that you would like to share with our listeners?
Well, I think that it's important that you just ask yourself, do I accept myself as I am? Do I value myself the way I am today? am I ready to love myself and work on being willing to have that compassion for myself and be honest with what do I want to improve, what do I want in my life, and then, get busy and take action and be accountable. And I think those three things, if you can just think about those, reflect upon them, pray about them, and then try to see where you are. I mean, where are you on a scale of 1 to 10 and having compassion for yourself, being honest with yourself, being accountable with yourself, and then set some goals and some intentions around what you'd like to improve. Just one little thing at a time.
Yeah, love it. Love it. And I encourage you to also get underneath all of the story and the layers of fear that have been accumulating your whole life and really get down to who you really are. Because who you really are would never beat you up. Who you really are knows how amazing and precious you are. So anything that is contrary to that is not really you. It is your fear. And so connecting down to that deepest layer of you and asking yourself, is it true? Or is my fear lying to me? Is my fear making it up? And is this motivated by fear or freedom? Because if we are motivated by fear, yes, we're getting things done. We won't be satisfied in fear. We're going to still feel like we're not doing enough. We're going to still feel like we're not enough. We're still going to feel all of those negative feelings that come when we're in fear. So how can we shift ourselves and our actions to be motivated by freedom? We might be doing the exact same thing, but the motivation is coming from freedom. And that is going to give us that fulfilled, whole feeling where we can go to bed at night and say, yeah, I did good. I did enough. And we accept ourselves and we love ourselves. That's what comes from the motivation of freedom. So I encourage you listeners to find freedom, come through that filter, have compassion for yourself, be honest with yourself, have personal responsibility, reach out for support. Terry and I are always here for you. You can find us at fearlessgenerations.org. You can find us on Facebook at Fearless Generations, LinkedIn and Instagram at Fearless Generations. Please join our Facebook group, which is Get Fearless at Any Age with Fearless Generations. We have constant content that we are posting to give you everything that we can to support you in really connecting to the Step 3 connection this month. And we encourage you to reach out to us, even if it's just to say, hey, I listened to the podcast this week, and it helped me here. We would just love to know if you have questions, concerns, or if we're supporting you. We would love your feedback. We also want to remind you that the 12 Steps to Freedom were created by Rhonda Britton, the CEO and founder of the Fearless Living Institute. And if you would like to know more about the Institute, please go to fearlessliving.org. We appreciate all of you. Go check out the website. There's all kinds of information there. In the new year, we have a whole new workshop series that's coming out and a new free workshop or complimentary workshop that we're putting out as well. So keep your eyes out for that. We are so excited to share them with you. And until next week, everybody, be fearless.
Be fearless. Good night.